In today's video, we're going to be going over quite the interesting scent here. This one is Intelligent Gold, okay, by the brand Intelligent. This one here has recently come to my attention because of a couple new, very popular Dolce & Gabbana The One releases, and of course that's The One Parfum and The One EDP 2025. So the interesting thing about this one is I've actually had it for a while. This actually came out in 2024, and when I did my video on The One Parfum and The One EDP 2025, and so the owner of the company, Derek, actually reached out to me after seeing my video of The One Parfum, and he said, if you like that, there's a good chance you're gonna like this. And I knew I had a bottle somewhere, just hadn't got around to trying it yet, so I dug it out, started doing some wearing and some testing on it, and sure enough, I was very impressed and actually very surprised, because for the longest time we've had issues with this fragrance here, the One EDP, for years. I mean, essentially, let's just say this, since it first came out in 2015, we've had issues with this one not really performing that well. Now I'd have to look at the bottom of this one. It's going to be hard to see. 5191, so that should work out to be a 2015 bottle here. I went through and I bought several first year 2015 bottles back when I was, really getting into Dolce & Gabbana The One, because I love the scent. I started collecting in 2017, so I didn't get onto this one right when it first came out. I thought maybe, the first year bottles would be better, stronger, more performing, more rich. Not necessarily the case. They're a little bit better than some of the more modern day 2019, 2020 plus, but other than that, not a huge difference there. So there's always been kind of performance issues with the One EDP. Maybe a little bit of a lack of richness, which we didn't really maybe notice as much until we got some of the new flankers and some scents that have really gone in to try to rework that DNA. So, having something like gold is going to prove to be very valuable for any of you guys who have struggled with the performance of the One Eau de Parfum. And so we're gonna go through and talk about all of this stuff today, talk about the similarities, but also the differences, because there are some key differences. And really quickly, just some housekeeping things here. If you wanna pick up a bottle of this or like a discovery set or anything in general on their website, you can use code CHAOS for 10% off, and that is 10% off everything site-wide. So let's start off with how this one smells. When you first spray it, you can immediately tell kind of what they're trying to tackle here. It gets you right in to that Dolce & Gabbana The One DNA, immediately. You get that amber, you get that tobacco, right? You get those signature The One smells and accords, and it really opens up nice and strong, punchy. You get a little bit of that brightness off the top, which is coming from like that grapefruit type of deal that The One has used in both the EDT and the EDP. That's present there, but it pretty quickly gets into a smoother, more creamier take, kind of like what you would expect Dolce & Gabbana The One to do, which it does. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the full note breakdown for this one, and this is on their official website here. Up top we have grapefruit, basil, and coriander. In the mid we have ginger, orange blossom, pepper, cardamom, vanilla. And then in the base, we have amber, tobacco, musk, cedar, and benzoin. So really nice note breakdown here. You're going to see some similarities, but you're also going to see some differences, and you're going to smell some differences as well. So we'll get into that part. Again, the tobacco, the amber, everything like that, pretty in line with the One EDP. And I keep referencing the EDP because it's the most prevalent one. It's the one that most people are wearing. So that part stays the same. Again, that grapefruit opening, similar. What you'll notice about this one is a little bit more of an amber focus. And this is where it gets interesting, because remember I said this came out in 2024, and I think like early 2024 as well. So, a couple years ago nearly at this point, whereas the One Parfum, the One EDP 25, came out at the very tail end of 2025. So this does have a little bit more of an amped up amber accord here. Now, one thing that I do notice about this one that kind of goes in a different direction as well compared to the One EDP is the vanilla and benzoin focus. Those two notes aren't really used as much in the One. You just don't really get that. However, it is being used to a pretty heavy extent here. And, like I always say with benzoin, that note in particular is a little bit more so kind of powdery. It gives you the impression of vanilla without actually being like a straight up syrupy sweet vanilla. So you're getting that component here. Now, one note that I believe they do not list off is sandalwood. And personally, I do pick up on that a little bit. A nice, soft, creamy, smooth, silky sandalwood. And I bring that up because in you know, the one Royal Night, it is a very sandalwood and amber heavy flanker. And in the one Parfum, I get some of that sandalwood as well, along with that heavy focus of amber. And so I pick up on a little bit of that here, even though it's not listed off to the best of my knowledge. Like I see they do list off cedarwood, and yeah, maybe a little bit of that, but I definitely get a smoother woody variety as well. What I find interesting about this one is the balance, because it's a richer take on the one EDP at its core. You know, you're getting that vanilla, that benzoin, you're getting that amped up amber, and that nice rich tobacco accord. But yet some of the orange blossom kind of shines through, even like in the mid and even in the very, very beginning of the dry down, you're getting some of that. So it's like it maintains just a little bit of the slightest fresh balance while capitalizing on a more rich Dolce & Gabbana, the one type of smell. So, you know, that's kind of interesting to me. Instead of just going straight into something heavier and richer all the way through, they've balanced it here. They give us a little bit more of like a slight brightness and maybe the slightest bit of a freshness, and also more of a heavy, rich base as well. And so now let's talk quickly about how this compares, which we've already been doing, but in terms of Dolce & Gabbana, the one EDP, this is the 2015, it's richer than this. It has more depth. It's more full-bodied, more of a complete smell, in my opinion. You know, it just has more going on. You know, this opens up with that kind of grapefruit off the top, as does this one, but this stays a little bit fresher in some parts while amping up the core of Dolce & Gabbana, the one, that amber tobacco. You get much more of that in gold. And as we compare it to the one EDP 2025, this one kind of opens up a little bit more fresh as well, just the slightest bit, similar to what this one does. However, this also uses the slightest bit more of an amber accord, not as much as the one Parfum, but just a little bit. Beyond that, the one EDP 2025 doesn't really provide a whole lot more. So it's slightly fresher off the opening and a touch more amber. Now, what this one claims is 16 hours of longevity due to a clinical study, according to Dolce & Gabbana. And also, what was their other claim? Something about mass appeal. I threw the box and the sleeve away, so I can't remember, but another one that was interesting. So, you know, and I already said we're not getting anywhere near 16 hours on this new Dolce & Gabbana, the one. So where you'll see a lot of similarities, but again, key differences as well, is with the one Parfum. So let's break these two down. Gold does not go as amber heavy as the one Parfum. However, it's on its way. It gets you close to the amber heaviness of this. But this new, the one Parfum, it has that MFK Grand Soir type of heavy, strong, sweet amber. Gold does not to that level. So there's still differences between the two there. However, this one does have that more full-bodied wearing experience, similar to what you get out of the one Parfum. The one Parfum also doesn't really open up fresh like this one does either. I find that the one Parfum is going to be basically just fall and winter oriented, and that's about it. So, you know, that's kind of where this one sits. Definitely the most extreme version right here, the one Parfum. It's also, you know, very expensive as well, which we'll get into. We'll get into price and everything here in a little bit, but something to keep in mind. I'm not saying that this gold is a clone of the one Parfum. It is not. Actually, again, this came out first, right? So I'm not saying that they smell identical or close to, but what I'm saying is gold gives everything a run for its money in terms of, you know, price point, performance, and just overall depth and complexity. So we'll talk about performance quickly as well, because I know people are going to be curious. This is a 22% extrait concentration. So that's high, you know, that's a lot of perfume oil here, and it shows. This one is powerful, okay, both in terms of projection and longevity. Longevity on my skin has been around that 9-10 hour mark, and the crazy thing about it is, for whatever reason, on paper, or I should say on cardboard, it lasts for like over 24 hours and actually is projecting for most of that time. When I was testing this one, not only was I testing it on skin, I also did a few sprays on the box just to see kind of the difference between the two, and just so I could reference that here and there during the time that I wasn't wearing this on skin. And when I sprayed it on the box and sat it down in my kitchen smelled like this for a full day. I only did a couple sprays, and it was projecting off of that cardboard for a full 24 hours, I was completely surprised by that. The skin part is more important. So again, it's around that 9-10 for me and could go a little bit longer, but that 9-10, that's usable performance. Like I talk about, it's still perceivable to some degree in terms of like some projection at that 9 to 10 hour mark versus being just a dead skin scent that you have to bury your nose into to smell. That's not the case with this one at that point. To me, this one is going to perform significantly better than the one EDP and also the one EDP 2025. So now let's take a look at the price point. This one is a 100 ml bottle and it comes in for $99. So let's say $100. You can use my code CHAOS to save $10, so it's $90. Okay, we'll say that. The one EDP, we'll talk discounted pricing just to be fair because that's what people are gonna be paying, is I think around $65, maybe $70 these days. Now we're not factoring in tax and shipping because everything's gonna be different, but let's just say that gives you roughly a $20 to $25 price difference here. You know, to me, this one is the better scent all the way through for that extra price. Because at the end of the day, if you buy the one EDP 2015 and even the new 2025, especially with what we're used to in terms of modern day fragrance releases, you're probably going to be disappointed. You're probably going to be let down. You're probably going to be frustrated because it does not last like we're used to having things last in 2026 now, right? Everything's beast mode. Those aren't, never have been, and those two never will be. It's a different story with the one parfum, okay? This one is a long-lasting version, is a true parfum, and will have very similar performance to Gold. However, they're still different. Not everybody's going to want the amped up amber and just real heaviness that the one parfum has. This could be too extreme for some people. It will be. But if you want what is essentially, you know, Dolce & Gabbana the one, that OG smell with a twist, with great performance and just improved overall, then that's where you want this one, Intelligent Gold. This is going to be that for you. It's going to be that straight concentration, that type of, you know, wearing experience here where you're getting that nice trail in the air. You're getting that really good longevity. That's what you're going to want for this one. Because at the end of the day, only paying an extra $20, $25 for this to get something that, you know, will last, you know, for some people double the amount of time and project more and just be a better wearing experience and a less frustrating experience makes a whole lot of sense for a lot of people. But I just want to clarify before I end the video that I'm not saying that this is a more affordable version of this, the Parfum. Still are differences. Okay, this is more in line with the one EDP, EDP 2025, just, you know, with a bit of a twist. So again, guys, that's going to do it for me. I will have this link down below. And again, you can use that code CHAOS for 10% off anything on their website. They have a lot of really good fragrances. I'm going to continue to cover more of these as time goes on. A lot of them are straights, really strong. They have a few EDPs as well, which I've also found to be really strong. Maybe getting a discovery set would be the best way to go, depending on what you want to try. They have a really good in Beast Mode Invictus Aqua clone that I would like to cover at some point, and a few other things too that are really notable that I'll be covering at some point. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.